Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. So I'm here with Nicolas tonight, who's a personal trainer and also nutritionist, as I just found out. I actually didn't know. So he's well versed in the area of fitness, of course, but also he knows what he's talking about when it comes to nutrition. It seems. So that's a really great combination. And I'm really glad that Nicolas could join us tonight because we wanted to talk about weight training for women in our 40s. So that also concerns me, of course. And I actually wanted to first, I'll let Nicolas introduce himself quickly. I think, Nicolas, you speak English and French, right?
I do speak English, and currently French is my native language, but yes.
Yeah, so Nicolas is actually based in Belgium, like me. He also is in Brussels. And so tell everyone what you're doing and what your approach is.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Nicolas, and I'm basically currently working in Brussels. It's been about more than 15 years that I'm working in the fitness industry, and more specifically into personal training on a coaching one-on-one person. The approach is basically according to the goals of people and the variety of exercise you can do with them, and according to the background of people, the health issue, injuries, and so on. So basically, we custom and tailored program according to people's times, their schedule, all of it is according to your experience as well. If you're a beginner or an expert in fitness or in sport, it's all about it is taken care of.
Yeah, and you actually told me that you usually really get started with like a deep dive session where you look into maybe injuries or also the objectives of everyone, and really kind of looking at the person as a whole. That's what I really love about doing as well. I mean, I really take into the consideration like all the different aspects of my clients, and I feel that you're doing that too. And I think it's really important that you you kind of look at, are there any injuries, or is there any like health history or issues? So that's really something important, of course, to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. When you start working with someone, you really want to know what goes in front and beyond the people and the person, because you want to know if this person has some past back injury or knee injury, if that person has done sport before, or is it under medication, under a lot of stress. You take all of those components and you really want to do the best program that would fit the person according to his or her lifestyle, everything from the numbers of sleeping you have on the night, from breakfast, non-breakfast, fasting, non-fasting. It's all taken care. You really don't want to have any surprise during the session or having any issues for later on. Especially you don't want to injure the people you're working with.
Yeah.
So really to upgrade the lifestyle and to boost as most as you can.
Nice. Yeah. I also feel that's really important. So you actually feel comfortable and also safe with, working with somebody, for sure.
Absolutely.
So today we really wanted to get into, and I've dedicated one of my recent blog posts also to that. So I've been talking a little bit about exercise in these past weeks, actually. And I mean, although exercise is always important, I find, and I cannot recommend anyone to like move enough. But especially in this time, actually, when we get like 40 years and older, really the aspect of weight training is very important. And I know that many women are also a little bit reluctant or maybe scared to get into weight training because they're kind of scared of how they will look like, or, I don't want to be like an Arnold Schwarzenegger or have like, very muscly legs, or so that's of course something that you can actually define with your training. And I mean, somebody like Nicolas would be perfect to help you set those goals and basically what you want to achieve. But I first quickly wanted to get into why is it so important that we actually do weight training at this age. So what I actually just learned in one of my in the hormone trainings that I did a couple of years ago, that actually from 30 years on, we are losing 1% of our bone mass every year. And so, I mean, actually, when we're 40, it's already a little bit late. So, I mean, ideally, but that's always what I say to my clients when it comes to hormone balance. Ideally, we actually do everything different when we're 20, but I mean, we don't. Like, so we're kind of burning out our adrenals, and we're not getting the sleep, and we're drinking, and I mean, we're doing all the things that are not good for hormone balance. So I really want everyone to encourage that. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can always start, and don't be afraid of getting started, because if you can just start small, but basically you should know you're losing your bone mass. And also what then comes really at this time in perimenopause, when you're heading towards the menopause, is that you're also getting prone to losing your muscles. So, I mean, you don't want to have those, winky, flappy arms, right? I mean, I don't want to have them. And I think most of us don't. But for me, it's also just something, I don't want to be this old, like, lady with a stick. I mean, I want to enjoy my life. I want to be able to move, to do hikes in nature, to carry my luggage, and not having to ask everyone, like, oh my gosh, this is too heavy, can you lift this for me? I mean, I just want to be independent and feel strong. And I mean, there's another thing that actually also comes with weight training, is that it can increase a little bit or boost the secretion of testosterone, which is this declining actually at that age. And that can then help with our self-confidence. It can help with our sex drive. So that's also something that's nice when we're getting older, which is declining naturally. So it's really all beneficial, I guess. And if you actually look at how much you're losing muscle, it's actually very, very difficult to look bulky when you're using weights, right? Or what's your experience?
Well, I must say I've seen things changing a little bit over 15 years, but I must say that women are very reluctant when we go to the weight room, working with dumbbells. It always scares them. One of the first things the women does when I hand them the handles is to check the weight, to see how much weight I'm giving to them. And they're afraid it would be too much. And why too much? It's because, as you said, they don't want to look bulky or too muscular, or they're afraid that they will just pop out muscles out of nowhere. But you're well placed for knowing that women produce about 15 times less testosterone than men. And this is one of the main hormones that will drive muscle gain. So if you really want to gain muscle, you must eat a lot of steak and spend a lot of time on the weight room, which we don't do on a proper program and specific goals. So when I introduce them into weight trainings, they're very reluctant. They want to have small weight, very little, almost just body weight. But as soon as you start working the weight, they see the toned muscles changing, the flappy arms is more or less gone. And they really have this boost in their life, in metabolism. And usually it goes well when person goes into gym. It's especially women rarely to gain weight. So it always goes into like a diet objective, and adding the weight training with the diet goes perfectly smooth. It's really one of the most important aspects you want to add to your diet. It's to have some physical activity to create one of the deficit for your calorie intake. That will help you to boost and lose more weight. But yeah, definitely adding the weight for fighting against sarcopenia and the loss of bone density. It's one of the main objectives I do with women over 40 and plus. I have women up to 67 years old, which is my oldest woman client. And we just do weight. The cardio she does by herself. She goes walking and biking. So I'm just taking care of the muscular aspect, if I must say, by working functional with her.
Yeah, and I love you mentioning actually metabolism, because what's also coming to hit us a little bit, when we go into this transition in menopause, is that our metabolism really slows down. So by actually keep on exercising and especially bringing in the weights, and then also the more muscle mass we have, the more actually we burn fat while we're not working, right? So I mean, that's also one of the key components to not putting on too much weight when going into menopause.
And this is one of the thing I'm selling the women customer I have with, is that by boosting the metabolism, you're gonna burn more calories at rest without being more bulky or just weighing more kilos. Just by being more toned, more muscular active, you're burning more calories at rest. And that's one of the best seller you can give.
The best-selling argument.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's basically being more efficient with what you have, right? So making the most out of your body. So yeah, I love that. I love this efficiency for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I do also know, and I think that's also why weight training can be great, is actually, you know, I used to be this kind of hyperactive person, or I mean, I'm still a bit hyperactive. I'm very nervous. So I'm, you know, I need to move a lot, and that's why I exercise a lot to kind of manage my nervousness. But yeah, there was a time where I was just overdoing it completely. So I was just, for me, you know, if I wasn't like exercising at least an hour and completely sweating, I didn't even consider, you know, I was like, you know, if I'm not completely in sweat and you know, doing at least an hour, then you know, that's not exercising, right? It doesn't even count. So for me, actually, the challenge was to, or at one point, I actually also had to look at my stress levels and kind of understand that, you know, too much exercise can also be counterproductive. And I think that's where weight training is actually also great, because it's not this, you know, high intensity like cardio training, where, you know, you see, as you say, you know, women mostly kind of running on the treadmill or on the the elliptic kind of trainer, and just doing all kinds of cardio movements and trying to lose weight, and they're actually just exhausting themselves and not being efficient with, you know, bringing on muscle mass. And
from this very old stereotype where the men were doing the bodybuilding and the women were on the other side of the gym being the cardio bunny, as we were calling.
Yeah, I love that.
Great that touching the weight with them makes them bulky. That was one of the main things. They were like, I'm not going into the weight. I know that my body will respond too much and I'm going to bulk. So for them, it was like you said, running for an hour, being drenched in sweat, and that was it. But thanks God, it's starting to change slowly, and the mentality as well. We have more knowledge where science is backing up as well, and people have a bit more open-minded and start to go not into the machine, but more into the weight room where they can work more functional, which is always more beneficial than just working into a machine. So that's why I personally train with no machine at all. I just weight room, what we call dumbbell, kettlebell, and almost no barbell. That's it. Puts too much articulation in damage. So this is basically the best you can do. It's body weight and adding some extra weight into your workout. And as before, you were doing an hour. Now you can tell that within 40 minutes, if you do that twice a week, you can eat like a decent workout to start with. And afterward.
Yeah. And maybe, so I got some questions ahead from the audience, and we have some people who've joined us also live tonight. So if you have any questions, you can of course type them in. But I think one of the main things is kind of what people are, you know, like how to get started, and like how, you know, how often do you need to exercise to actually see the benefits? So.
Well, how to get started? You must find the why you want to start with. Why are you doing this? You may have one why or a few whys that you want to start with, but once you find them, you already have a motivational aspect to start working out, I must say. So once you define those whys, it's already easier for you to step in. And as how much you should do, you should start with at least 2 sessions a week. You can space them out about 3, maximum 4 days from each other. And you can start with just basically half an hour, and you're going to increase slowly week after week, a little bit of the intensity, the timing of your session. But I would say twice a week for half an hour to start with would be already something good. And then for after 6 weeks, when you start seeing the benefits of it, you can start going into 45 minutes and just up to 1 hour maximum. That would be good. And then maybe you're going to be hit by the bug and you want to do more, but twice a week is already something well. If you can do some brisk walk outside and some biking as well, that will add some benefit and value to your workout as well.
Yeah, to do that on top. And so what I always like to say to my clients as well is, especially if they're not like, if you're not a sporty person, if you're just really starting from scratch, then of course it's really beneficial to work with somebody like you, so you actually know you're doing the exercises right. I mean, I actually had a client who signed up for some sort of YouTube exercise series, and she severely injured her foot while doing it, so I mean, it's great she did that and she had the motivation, and I totally get that it's convenient, to work out from home. But especially if you're not like somebody who knows what you're doing, then I guess it's always good to actually get started with somebody who can show you, so you're sure you're doing the right exercise and you're not making any mistakes while squatting, using there's so many injuries you can get to your knees and stuff. So you want to make sure you do it right and you know what you're doing, and then you can kind of go on doing it on your own, if that's what you want to do.
Absolutely. Well, the best I can always say is if you have access to a gym and access to a personal trainer that's been recommended to you or that you've seen working, that has a decent workout and it doesn't make people jumping up and down and running the stairs with the weight, then you can start approaching that person. But having someone that will completely screen your workout and screen yourself when you do the exercise would be the very, very good start for you. If you can start at least for like a 5 session that you'll be supervised by the trainer, that will give you the basic that you can start and bring it home and do more. And then the trainer can give you a kind of extra program that you can do by yourself. And then you come into like a monthly checkup with the trainer to add some extra exercise. So if you find it too boring to do, you can share with that trainer what you are feeling about. So yeah.
I mean, what I like to actually say to my clients as well is, don't, like I used to be, don't think you need to be starting with an hour, intensive exercise. I mean, just, in the morning when you get up, just doing some push-ups, and maybe just starting with 2 if you can, and then make 3 and 4 and 5 and just increasing that. I mean, but you should know how to do the push-ups as well first. But if you do, then that's something that you can do, and like get up the stairs and basically do all these small things that don't take much time, but that can all count as exercise. And I mean, doing like 5 or even 10 push-ups is not even taking 5 minutes of your day, so because that's always something that also is the same with nutrition. People say, I want to like cook or like eat healthy, but I don't have the time. So I think if you make it a priority, you're able to manage it. So that's the first thing, right? So you need to want to do it. But then, of course, yes, you have all these chores. You have your kids. You need to bring them to school or to kindergarten, or how old they are. You need to go to work, prepare meals, do grocery shopping, maybe have some other meetings. So I mean, there may be just some time at lunch that you can spare for exercising. And some people have a shower, so they can even go for a run or do something like that, or also maybe just go for a walk for lunch. And even if it's just 15 minutes, that's already better than nothing, right?
It's already better than what you were doing the day before, which was 0. So how to get started when you have like such a busy schedule? It's maybe to start, I did it with my own wife, it's to be put in your calendar 30 minutes for your workout session, which you know you won't take any meeting, any working time, any time for grocery, hairdresser, shopping, or just anything. Just you prioritize your calendar and your timetable, and then you start doing it so, and you're building a habit slowly. And by doing it so, you're quickly enjoying, I must say, from my experience with people I work with, the working out time. So it's really a moment that it's your me time that you prioritize over time. So at the beginning, yeah, you might have to wake up half an hour before your time. You have to do those 2-3 push-ups, 5-10 squats, walking up and down the stairs just 5 times to get you going. But once you start feeling the benefit, you feel the energy being boosted, your mood is being boosted as well. You're like, okay, this is going well for me. So from there, you're starting to do more and you want more. This is usually what's go on when things go well as well, when you know what to do. And the more important, as I said before, it's knowing your why you do it. So if you find the whys, you find the time.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think when you really start out, it can be tough, right? I mean, like in the beginning, it will not be tough. I mean, it can be like you're not like feeling all great. So I mean, it will be difficult if you. So you need to push yourself a little bit. But then don't forget about the endorphins, right? That come after the exercise. So. And as Nicolas said, it's basically something that you need to, it's like when you stop eating sugar, you actually feel really bad for a couple of days. But once you're actually over that headache, you start feeling really great. So I guess it's kind of the same with exercise. And we actually got a great question from Alma. She asked, is it better to work out on an empty stomach or after eating?
Well, you well placed to know. It depends on the time of the day you're working out. It depends of your goals as well, the duration of your workout. So if you have a fasted workout, it would be better to do it so in the morning. So you can target more fat cell and it's burning a little bit more. If you don't have time, it has to be around lunchtime and your breakfast was very early. I always suggest just some very light food, 45 minutes maximum before the workouts. Do not be on an empty stomach. But again, it goes from person to person. People can hold on a workout on an empty stomach, and some really need to have this glucose going on. So
well, I think let's first maybe say you should never have like really exercise with a full stomach, right? That's never a good plan. So if you do eat something before you exercise, it can be like a snack, maybe like an apple and a handful of almonds or something like that. Something that's easy digestible, but it's still not like the pure glucose spike, giving you some protein and like a little bit of lower glycemic food. So that might be like a good snack. But what Nicolas also was saying is, yeah, I mean, if you do a fasted workout, and I actually did a newsletter, I think last year on this, seems like a while ago. So, I mean, if you work out in a fasted state, it actually will help you burn more fat. So if your goal is burning fat, then that's really the thing that you should do. But it's not burning more calories, so it will just help you burn more fat. So as Nicolas said, basically after that it depends on the time of the day. And actually, I think I heard from when I was on the health optimization summit from one of the fitness gurus. He actually said, and it's true, that our cortisol levels are highest in the morning. So starting your morning with like a high intensity workout may actually not be the best thing for you if you're already, if your cortisol levels are already not optimal. So you don't want to like burn out more. You want to actually be, you want to then in that situation go more into, maybe doing like Nordic walking or do some weight training, something like that. That's not like, you wouldn't want to start your morning with like a high intensity workout that's really pushing your cortisol even more. You would actually in that situation, maybe do it ideally around 4 p.m. when your cortisol is dropping. But also exercising too late is also not great, because it can actually keep you up and disturb your sleep. So that's also something that's probably not, I mean, as Nicolas said, everyone's individual, right? So yeah. What is, I must say, she prefers to work out in the morning.
Well, what's her goal? And if she works out in the morning, at what time and how long after she?
And she doesn't. She has a hard time eating in the morning. So.
Well, if she can sustain the workout without eating, but it's all again, what's her workout? What's her goal? If she does weights, then that's going to be perfect. If it's like a HIIT workout, as you said, it's going to be burning a little bit more, but you might not have enough substrates to maintain the intensity of the workout. So it really go accordingly from people to people and to the objective you have. What's your goal when?
Yeah, and also what does your body tell you? I mean, how do you feel if you do it, right? I mean, you will know first thing if you're exercising in the morning and you haven't had anything to eat and you just feel horrible, you don't have energy. You try having a snack and see if you feel better with it, right?
Yeah, well, but the body is an amazing machine as well, so it will adapt, unfortunately, to what you're going to ask him to go through. So some people will just skip breakfast, go to a hard workout, and just wait until lunch, and then at the end, the intermittent fasting won't work for them, but they keep on trying for months and months and months. So that's why you always must be surrounded by people who can give you the best advice and not being afraid of asking questions. There was no silly question. All questions are good.
Yeah, so I agree. And I actually did have a question from somebody in the group. So there was a lady who, so she's kind of, she's stopped exercising totally. And she said like last year she tried a little bit and then she just felt really sore and, she doesn't want to. So now she's like, okay, I understand. I need to try again. I need to do it. I want to do it. But like, okay, how can I avoid, feeling so horrible?
Well, so is a little bit the byproduct of working out. It might happen and it might not happen on later on the time. So being sore, it's just a muscle adaptation. It's a muscle adaptation from the body, just getting used to new stimulus, new intensity. So that's why, again, if you're well supervised, the volume, what we call the volume of a workout, which is the intensity, number of repetition, number of sets, the weight you're taking, is all of those is correctly managed. The point is not to put people into soreness for like 48 hours next on. The point is to have enough stimulus that people can handle and then still get into the life afterward without feeling miserable and feeling stupid walking up and down the stairs or getting out of the car. But over time, this kind of soreness effect, it's starting to lose a little bit. So it's all depends on how much you go, if you have just new exercise, if you join a new class, it's too much intensity for you. So that's why being supervised, it's a good thing when you want to restart something. Start or restart, I must say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's also what I was thinking, that she probably just went to a class without any preparation and then just feels very sore and thought like, oh my God, that wasn't right for me. And then let it, dropped it again saying, wow, that didn't feel good. So I don't want to go back to feeling like that. So yeah, so as Nicolas said, if you're training with somebody who knows what he's doing or she's doing, you will, the workout will be adapted to your level of fitness. And I mean, you will probably not get away with feeling a little bit sore, especially in the beginning. And if you haven't, flexed your muscles at all in the past years. So you cannot completely avoid it, but it will not be the way that you cannot like get up the stairs or sit down on your chair without feeling pain or horrible, for sure. And I mean, there's also things like magnesium that, make sure you're hydrating well, you're getting in your minerals after workout, so you're actually not, it's basically the acidity that's building up in the muscles that makes you feel sore. So by getting in your minerals and maybe also watching what you eat that night, maybe don't have like the big steak or something like that post workout, but have like a lighter source of protein, something that's a little bit more alkalizing, that would help actually not getting that sore in that situation.
Well, you just added what I wanted to say. Just basically, with a proper nutrition, proper hydration, you kind of smooth those effects of muscle soreness. But you said it much better than me. So thank you.
Thanks. So what else did we have here on the questions? So we talked about the feeling sore. What kind of equipment do you need?
How much room do you have? I must say, start just with a mat. It can be a yoga mat, a gym mat, something that you're comfortable for, kind of exercise that you can do from the floor on laying down, which can be providing a lot of pushing, a lot of pulling, a lot of lifting as well, so you're not damaging the ground or waking up the neighbors. And I would say a pair of dumbbells. And to start
like I have these, those are not very heavy ones, they're only 2 kilo. But that's something you can get started with.
Absolutely. 2 kilos, that's already a very good start with for all the arms and shoulders exercise you can do. And after one, if you want to get a little bit more weight to add some density and intensity for your legs, then you can start going into like a double digit number, like 10 and 12 kilos. That will be carried with both hands. And do not be afraid that 12 kilo will make you bulky. So
and then there's also things like the the workout bands. So that's something I take with me when I travel usually. So it doesn't, it doesn't weigh anything, and it's very small, so you can take it everywhere. You could even take it to work and do a workout on your desk with your legs or something like this, or go out in the park and flex, do some arm flexing. So I mean, that's of course like weight bearing exercise. I mean, it's basically a resistance exercise, so it's not as effective, as like pushing heavier weights, but it's it's also good. So
3 keys of hypertrophy for building muscle. You must have muscle damage, muscle tension, and so on. So already flexing, creating a muscle tension. So you're already going into hypertrophy. So it's already a good start without having big weights around. So you have a good starting package, I must say.
Yeah, and I mean, this is, I think, it's very affordable. So for anyone who wants to maybe do some workouts at home and doesn't want to buy some weight, I mean, weights also don't cost that much, but it's something that you can get started with, I guess, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I would advise. Just some fit bands, the elastic, the TerraBand as you have, and dumbbells as well is a good grip, because sometimes the band's a little bit hurting on the people's hand when they're not used to grip something that hard, and a mat, so you're feeling comfortable to work out. So that's a good package.
And then there was another question: how would you get the lean muscle mass and the muscles to form? So I mean, that depends on how you define your program, right? So I mean, it's basically the number of repetitions, the weight that you're using, but I'll let you reply to that. You do that better than I'm sure.
Thank you. Well, just to get leaner muscle, it goes accordingly with a proper diet, which will be a little bit more higher in protein than regular person. The intensity of your workout should be at least from 3, maximum 4 times a week as well. And leaning mass, it's really going into one of those, not fat loss program, but one of this losing the fat around the muscle. And you should be working around 12 to maximum 15 repetition if that's one of the the question and how many repetitions by 3 sets, I must say. But it goes according to person, because people react very quickly to some muscle or some exercise. So lean mass is probably the diet and at least 3 hours of working out a week, I must say.
Yeah. What else? I think we answered most of these. Yeah, we talked about like how often do you need to work out per week, etc. And then, yeah, one mention was like, I want to, but I don't have the time. So, I mean, that's kind of getting back to, or like how to get the motivation. And I mean, I just can remember back 20 years ago when I really started exercising. I really had to force myself because I basically started running, and at that time I was almost getting asthmatic. So my lung capacity was very, very low, and I just really forced myself, like jogging and like increasing, and it was really hard, I have to say. And I mean, that time really marked me. I was like, I never want to go back to feeling like that and like not being fit like that. So I always basically made sure I maintained a level of fitness. But it's true that when you get started, it can be hard. So, you know, putting on some music that you like, or also choosing something that you like, you know, some like dancing can be something, you know, it's a way to move your body, and having some music that, you know, that puts you in kind of a high vibe mode. So that's definitely something that you could start doing, you know, if you're not like fit at all, that, or, you know, go maybe finding a walking buddy, or, you know, somebody that you, so you make sure you're going out because you have this person, or the friend that you're meeting, and you're doing you're like a brisk walk with them. I think those are things that can get you motivated. And Nicolas said before, you know, make sure to put it in your calendar. And so when I was still going to work to my other job, I used to work out before work, and for me it was just a habit, really. I mean, I knew I would get up and go exercise, go get my shower, get breakfast, and go to work. I mean, it was just a habit. So it's a routine that you're getting into, right? But when you go to bed and you have already your gym clothes like next to your bed, and you know in your head you're getting up, you're putting on your exercise clothes, and you're just getting started. I mean, it's already better than thinking, but maybe it's gonna rain tomorrow. We'll see, or maybe I'll see how I feel tomorrow. I mean, if you actually start thinking about that, that's like thinking about what I have to cook for dinner, rather than following a plan, right? If you have a plan ready, and or you have a meal ready in your fridge, you don't have to think about, oh my gosh, what I'm gonna make for dinner, or I'm just gonna order pizza. So it's a kind of the same with exercise. You're making better choices if you have a plan, of course, and you're more likely to follow them.
Absolutely. Well, when people have to start with exercising, I sometimes give them like option of what to do until they find out what they really like to do. So we're not going into exercise that people don't like to repeat, because that's the best way to quit. So we try to find exercise that's a kind of creative for them, and they're a little bit ludic, and they have a little bit of fun with it. And as you say, listening to some music, listen to some podcast, or have an audiobook as you walk outside, or having you run, or catching up the latest bestseller you want to hear, you can do it while working out. So all those are little tricks that you can always try to have. And as you said, having your gym bag ready, or setting up the gym ready next to your bed or into your office, if you have one at home, with you the weight and the mats and a bottle of water, so you know that next things you do the next day, it's gonna work out, and this is done and this is over. But have fun first of all when you do it. That's the best way to build a new habit. Enjoy.
And maybe one last thing I'd like to add is, you know, our brain is working on this reward cycle, right? So our brain is it likes to have a reward, and then it's looking forward to doing something again. So you could actually, you know, I've actually said this to clients before, and it seems silly, but you know, if you want to get started with your push-ups, so you do 5 push-ups, and then you cheer yourself on, you go like, yay, I did it. You know, you create this kind of happiness feeling in your brain. You can actually play with your brain. So your brain thinks, oh wow, this was great, I want to do it again. So it's actually creating this reward cycle. So your brain will be looking forward to and kind of push you to wanting to do it again. So I mean, this was a little bit of a silly example, but you know, you can also basically you know, think of another reward, but just think of something that's you know, that's pleasurable for you, or that makes you look forward to something, and say, okay, if I do this, then you know, I get this. So
A good trick.
Yeah.
Very good.
Does anyone else? So I think we've gone through all the questions that we had up front. Does anyone of the listeners have any other questions for Nicolas? No, you can also unmute yourself if you want to and just talk. No.
Actually, Senia, she had a question, but for some reasons she sent it directly to me. So you can't see it. I'll just copy paste it for, I don't know if I can. Yeah. Oh.
Can you share it with me, or can you read it out?
Oh yeah, so she's asking to keep muscles and build some more, we need to work with weights. Does Pilates or hot yoga help you to keep your muscles?
Up to a point, again, because you're working on a body weight resistance. So on the beginning of your journey into hot yoga and Pilates, you're going to feel a lot of change into your physiognomy and physiology and in your body. But up to a point, you will have to add extra weight to create more muscle mass, and if it's a point of building more mass, again, the diet goes into the game. But definitely you're going to have to add a session to your Pilates and hot yoga session, which will include weight. It's definitely a yes, you'll have to.
Yeah, I agree. So if we don't have any other questions, I think then I will just thank you, Nicolas, for your time, and maybe tell everyone how, you know, if anyone would like to connect with you, how can they find you? Where, you know, where do you exercise? Where do you live? How can we reach you?
Thanks, everyone. I'm working in Flagey in Excel, and I'm working into the center called B2M, which means Born to Move. And over there on the website of Born to Move, you can find out my contact, and then be free to contact me from Marik, and I'll be pleased to answer your question or to find out what I can do with you. So this is where you can find me. And sorry for my English. I hope everyone understands me. And I was.
Yeah, I think actually our audience was mainly French. I'm not sure. Somebody left already, so I'm not sure. But no, Helen is probably English speaking. But yeah, I think this should have been okay for everyone. And I will share the link to the website in the group. So you know, if anyone wants to reach out to you, they can. And yeah, it was great actually having you. Thank you for sharing your experience and your expertise. And talk to you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having me, Marik.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.